Thursday, December 28th, our last video of the year. Happy Healthy New Year to everybody. This is going to be on Bitcoin and blockchain. You hear it so much about Bitcoin. Understand, let's talk about very quickly what this is. I'm not a financial advisor, but this is basically history. And this is what you learn as you get older. It's just history rhymes. I've said it so many times. Let's talk about Bitcoin and blockchain. Blockchain is a technology. Bitcoin is a money or a coin, a money that is based on that technology. Now that technology is real. Blockchain's real. It's no daisy. It's real. It's no tulip. It's real, just like the internet was real. But Bitcoin, we're going to use as a generic name because there are other coins like that. There's Ethereum. There's a whole bunch of others. I'm not going to get technically into it. But the discussion here is, do you invest in something like a Bitcoin, generically, as we're talking about? And hey, right on. Those who invested early made a lot of money. A lot of money. The problem you've got with Bitcoin is, let's look at some of the history. Back a long time ago, before most of you were born, we had a big mania. It was called Atlantic City. And Atlantic City, all these hotels were going in and were going to build casinos. And it was the hottest thing around. You had resorts, you had Caesars, you had Del Webb. Del Webb, now that does senior living, Del Webb was in there. And I remember when people would go in, a friend of mine who was a stockbroker told me, would go in to buy Del Webb when Del Webb announced that they're going to casinos, that you couldn't buy the stock for like 5 hours. That's in the old days when there wasn't much liquidity and there wasn't much technology. It was more hand-to-hand. That's why we had early crashes so much. But it was that simple. But you couldn't get in because it was the mania. We all know what happened to Atlantic City. This is legitimate, though. And Atlantic City's still there. Blockchain's still legitimate. But a lot of people made money getting it. A small amount of people made money early. A lot of people lost money afterwards. Let's look at another example. 87, we had the crash. Everybody was in there. The market was rocking. Yet the whole thing crashed overnight because you learn there that when you have a mania and everybody is buying, that there's always 4 entrances in and 1 exit out. Don't ever forget that. 4 entrances in and 1 exit out. Wall Street always makes it easy to get in. They make it tough to get out. Now, let's go even down to what the real comparison is that we would all understand is the internet. In the late 1990s, the internet was all the rage. Everybody was internet. And see if it doesn't sound like Bitcoin is now as when you see the price of Bitcoin on TV all the time. It was everybody became a .com. Everybody was a .com. And when you became a .com, suddenly your stock took off. Kind of like, look at, what is it, Long Island iced tea? They're going to become a blockchain. So their stock moved a lot, moved a whole lot. And you get others like that. You have Riot Blockchain. You have all these others that are in there that, what do they have to do with blockchain except they put blockchain in their name where they all say they're going to be part of blockchain. Well, look at what happened back then. The internet is still around. It became the real thing. But in the late 1990s, everybody was becoming a .com. So when everybody became a .com, these IPO'S started flying out. And they'd come out at $20 and they'd open at 70. No exaggeration. 50, 70. Everybody was fighting for these .com IPO'S or any company that said they had something to do with the internet. And you would go in and you buy it and you'd sell it the next day. You buy it, you'd sell it the next day. And everybody was making all this money and it was all rocking. And then 2000 came and then the whole thing came crashing down. But what came crashing down? Not the internet, just all of those fake stocks, the great majority of them that were fake around it that had the name .com in them or said they had something to do with the internet because they weren't real. But as the internet grew, became what we are now, this is where we are on the internet. Companies grew, legitimate companies grew around the internet and started making a lot of money. Now let's look at this Bitcoin situation. Blockchain is like the internet was in the late 1990s. It hasn't gone anywhere yet. It's going to. It appears to. I can't say it's going to. It sure appears like it's the real thing. So everybody is coming in and building their companies around it saying, I'm blockchain. I got something to do with blockchain. I'm this, I'm that. How many Bitcoin type names are there out there? Lots of them. So if you bought Bitcoin cheap, $600, even less, but $600, what, a year and a half ago? You're loaded now. The problem is all those people coming in now, buying that, buying all these other stocks. You don't know what these stocks do. These stocks just say they're blockchain. I'm not saying they're not legit. Some will make it, but the great majority is going to fall out because whenever you have a mania, remember what I said, there's Wall Street gives you 4 entrances in and 1 exit out. And that's what's starting to happen. Suddenly now you're going to have futures trading on it. That's going to be a limit on what Bitcoin and these others can do. And there's regulators. And the other kind of problems you have with Bitcoin, I'm using Bitcoin now, but this is it specifically, is what happens if they can't pay, if they get hacked. In South Korea, one of the marketplaces got hacked hard. So what are you going to do? Go to the FDIC and say, I want my $250,000? You can't get it. It's nothing. So you have no protection when you're buying these Bitcoins. All the countries are now starting to come down on them and regulate them stronger and stronger. So you're not going to get this mania. It's going to take all the air out of the mania, or a major chunk out of the mania. So what I'm saying is when you look at this and you look at blockchain 5, 7, 10 years from now, assuming it's going to be the gigantic thing everybody says it's going to be, you're all going to be looking back and laughing at these companies that said they were blockchain, just like we all laugh at those companies that said they were .com or internet. So watch out. History rhymes. History rhymes. Don't go running into this stuff. Once again, I'm not a financial advisor. I just look at what's happened in history. You get these manias. Some people make a lot of money. Most people lose a lot of money. Then you're stuck, and then you have to wait until it really builds its foundation. It's like a hat. It's like a foundation. Foundation can be the same, but you can build a whole bunch of different types of houses on it. Question is, which house is going to sell? You could end up losing a whole lot of money on a whole bunch of other models, but not on this model. And that's what's happening here. Who even knows if Bitcoin's going to be the winner? Who knows? I say stay away from it. Watch it on TV. When you have a little message thing up there telling you what Bitcoin's price is, you got to sit there and go, wow, this is crazy. This is crazy. Man, I remember when the Hunt brothers tried to control the silver market. Got up to 50, then the whole thing crashed down on them. It always moves this way on a mania. Also, have a happy and healthy new year. And please share, subscribe to Mark Friedman, JAAC, or Just an American Citizen. We're all the same on all 3 of them. We're going to be merging them all down the road. Goes back years. You can see the history and where it goes. But everybody, have a happy and healthy new year. And look forward to seeing you next year. Peace.